Okay, it is time for a buy or sell. I realized it has been quite some time since I've asked you guys to give me your hot takes over on Twitter, but as I'm on my way to Arizona or currently in there, decided it was a good time to get this video out for you guys. So of course, went to Twitter, said, give me your hot takes. I will tell you if I agree with them, buy, or if I sell them, disagree based on my opinions. Big shout out to everybody who's following me over on social media. Make sure you do. Links will be in the description, as well as don't forget to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe. If you've noticed, we've been putting out a lot of content recently. You're going to want to stick around. And let's get going to this. So we've got a heater started off here by Sergio Quintero. This is a longtime follower. Sergio's a legend. He says Roki Sasaki will sign with the Padres to join his mentor, Yu Darvish. So I'm going to break this one up into two parts because I don't think Roki Sasaki is going to sign this next offseason. He hasn't pitched a lot in Japan, hasn't looked as sharp as you would like, and honestly, I think he needs a little bit more time over there. Also, his contract situation is super up in the air, whether or not he can post, whether they will let him post. There's a lot going on. So I don't think he's going to come over in this next offseason. That being said, I do think it will come down to the Dodgers and the Padres. And you are correct, Sergio. Yu Darvish is Roki Sasaki's guy. If there was anybody for him to follow in the footsteps of, it is going to be Yu Darvish, who was one of the greatest Japanese pitching prospects we've ever seen when he came over. And Roki is electric. He's got that fastball that's 100+ miles per hour. He's got the breaking balls. He's got the splitter. He's got a variety of different pitches that makes him a super high ceiling pitcher for the future in Major League Baseball. With only 77 innings pitched this current season, 91 last year, 129 in the year before, he's still only going to be 23 years old at the end of the year going into the offseason. It feels like it might be a little premature for him to come over just yet, as well as we just don't know. But I will buy the idea that he signs with the Padres, but I'm selling that it's going to be this offseason. So I don't know. Jackson will figure out what to do in the editing here. Bennett Lehman at DC Burke says Juan Soto re-signs with the Nationals in free agency this winter. I'm going to say something crazy. I don't hate this take at all. There is a crazy world. They offered him $300 million before, and if there's anyone you're going to offer more money to right now in baseball, Juan Soto is atop of that list, especially with this free agent class, which is really not that strong, especially at the top. Juan Soto is the clear and obvious best player. So I would expect the Nationals to be aggressive. They're in a spot where they have a lot of really good young talent. Now, granted, a lot of similar positions as Soto, outfielders, James Wood, Dylan Cruz, they could probably find a spot for Soto. It's not that they're not going to be able to put him out there. He's going to start. It's just whether or not they want to invest that amount of money into a team that's probably still a couple years away. CJ Abrams has been good. Luis Garcia has been great. But on the pitching side, they're weirdly shaky, even though I like their pitching prospects. And Mackenzie Gore just can't be this bad. I am going to sell the fact that Juan Soto re-signs, but I'm not out on this crazy idea that Juan Soto got traded to the Padres, made the Nationals better, and is just going to come home. Again, don't think that's going to happen. I do really think it's a two-horse race between the Yankees and the Mets, and maybe the Dodgers too, if they can even spend more. I don't know how they can, but there's no rules against it. Those are going to be the teams that spend the most money. I think he signs with whoever gives him the most money. I don't think that's going to be the Nationals, so we sell. Mike Waz at Mike Waz _YT says Aaron Judge is putting together the best offensive season in MLB history. Oh, baby. Listen, statistically, there's a lot of things that are pointing towards Aaron Judge having one of the best offensive seasons we've ever seen. That being said, this is my video, and I still will not be able to put Barry Bonds' 73 home run season anywhere but #1 until Aaron Judge hits that many home runs, until he gets intentionally walked 100 times in a season. I just can't give it to anybody besides Barry Bonds. So for those reasons, I'm going to sell. But what Aaron Judge is doing is crazy. It is going to go down as maybe one of the 3, 4, 5 best seasons we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. It is currently August 27th when I'm recording this video, and Aaron Judge's numbers are out of control. He's hitting .333 with a .465 on base, 1197 OPS, 51 homers, 122 RBIs. He's playing out of his mind. He's just so incredibly good. And this is not a knock on the season he's having at all. Like I said, it is maybe one of the 5 best offensive seasons we have ever seen. But 73 home runs, 177 walks, a 1379 OPS. Even the year after it, he put up a 1381. Like, Barry Bonds is undefeated. He took steroids, whatever. It doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. That still happened. And statistically speaking, that is still the best season. I just don't think anyone's going to take it. And not to mention, again, if we are talking stats wise, Babe Ruth had like an entire decade of an OPS over 1200. So that's pretty disgusting as well. I think those seasons probably still trump Aaron Judge a little bit. But yeah, Aaron Judge is having a pretty dang good year, but I sell. Z-Farm at Z-Farm _ says Samuel Basallo is the #1 prospect in baseball going into the 2025 season. Ooh, Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at what Pipeline's got right now and see where he would land with the guys that are going to eventually graduate this year. So Basayo right now is right outside the top 10 at number 11, and I don't think he goes to number 1. He's had a phenomenal year, but the catcher first base spot, specifically more, he's going to be a first baseman, I think. It's going to be really hard for that guy to ever be a number 1 prospect just because of the position, and there still are some guys that are phenomenal ahead of him, and I don't see them being outseeded by him. So unfortunately, again, I'm going to have to be a hater and sell, but Samuel Basayo is one of the premier prospects in all of minor league baseball. I think he's even getting a shot at AAA, and he's what, 20, 21 years old. The dude's incredibly talented. I don't know how the Orioles keep getting away with this. How do they keep doing it? They just keep making amazing players. Basayo will be one of them. Jose Ramirez MVP season at JRAM for MVP says the Guardians are not making the playoffs. Too much inconsistent play paired along with a bad front office. And you know what? I'm going to buy this one. Now listen, I may or may not have a futures bet on the Royals winning the AL Central, and it may or may not win me a big chunk of money. So I may or may not be rooting for the Royals to win the AL Central. I hope this happens. That being said, I think the Guardians are starting to come back to earth. I mean, they played an unbelievable year. What Stephen Vogt has done in his first season there with that roster, with that team, with that pitching staff has been incredibly impressive. And I do think that this is a better team than we've seen from the Guardians in the past. I think it's more complete. Stephen Kwan's been amazing. Jose Ramirez playing out of his mind. Josh Naylor's cooled off a little bit, but he's still good. David Fry for a minute was ridiculously good. John Kenzie Noel looks like a really good ball player. Like offensively, this is one of their stronger teams in a minute. It's just the starting pitching is generally pretty bad. You can't really rely on too many of the arms there. Like I like Bybee, I like Gavin Williams. Nobody else really excites me right now in that rotation. I don't know what you look like in the playoffs, and I always get nervous about a team that is just kind of scuffling going into the month of September, and that's what it feels like with the Guardians. So yes, I agree with you, Jose Ramirez MVP season. I think the Guardians are going to miss the playoffs. Unfortunately, Fuzzy, I'm going to have to buy this take. I think it's just going to be the Royals or the Twins. Both of those teams I think are better right now and are playing better baseball, and the Royals did just beat the pants off the Guardians in the first 2 games of that series. Brewers Sooner says Brewers should be considered a serious threat to become a potential dynasty. See, this is the problem with dynasties in baseball. You're going to have to spend a lot of money, and the Brewers are not a team, not an organization that historically is. Now, yes, they gave Christian Yelich a big contract. They've got Jackson Chourio locked up for a while. They've got good young players and Bryce Turang. They got Garrett Mitchell. Like, I like a lot of what the Brewers have done, and their farm system is pretty strong. I just don't know how they're going to be able to keep all these players. I don't know how they're going to be able to bring in a bunch of really good players. When you're talking about building a dynasty, you were looking at what the Houston Astros just did, and they kept a major core of players, all homegrown essentially, together for a really long time. Altuve, Bregman, Springer was there for a minute, Carlos Correa was there for a minute, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker. They're just filling and replacing these guys with more and more good players. Along with on the pitching side, they had to buy most of those guys like Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander and Zach Greinke at one point. And I know that's not necessarily the teams that's won the World Series with those exact rosters, but that's what you kind of have to do. You have to be able to have homegrown and mix it with high budget, expensive players, because those are the best. So for me, I have to sell this one. I think the Brewers are a way better team than I thought they were going to be. I was not very high on them. I was super worried with David Stearns leaving. I didn't know if they were going to still have that magic. They still do. Still a good organization. I just don't think you can build a dynasty in the way that the Brewers operate. It's just not really feasible. Hence why the Rays and the Marlins and none of these real small market teams have really been able to build a dynasty consistently. Chuck Nichols says Mariners offense remembers how to hit and makes the playoff off a hot September. I mean, listen, I'm rooting for the Mariners. I want to buy this take really badly because I think I had the Mariners to have them winning the World Series. I had them going really far in my predictions. I don't necessarily remember. It's been a minute, but I thought this Mariners team had the ability to be a World Series contender. That being said, I thought J-Rod was going to be an MVP candidate. I thought Jorge Polanco was going to be a lot better. Cal Raleigh's been phenomenal. I thought JP Crawford was going to be healthy. I thought Ty France was going to be a better player. I thought that they were going to get a lot more production on the offensive side. And granted, they brought in Randy Arozarena. They brought in a couple bats, Justin Turner, but I don't know if this offense ever really turns it around. It has now been, what, 4, 5, almost 6 months of just mediocre, if not bad offense. That pitching is disgusting. One of the best, if not the best pitching staff in the entire league. If they can get to the postseason, they have a shot as good as anybody to make some noise. But the problem with the Mariners is they are very far out of it right now, and they're going to need a lot of dominoes to fall. They're 3.5 back right now in the AL West. That's their best shot, and I don't know if they're going to take down the Astros. The Astros are looking better and better as the days go on, and they're 5.5 out of the wild card, and I don't see that as a realistic possibility to make the wild card right now. It's pretty much AL West or bust. They do have 3 games left against the Astros, so they have an ability to make up some ground late in the season. I don't believe right now. I don't believe they made a good decision to get rid of Scott Servais. They needed to change it up. He's been there for 9 years and has basically had no success. Time for a fresh voice, and maybe that's the spark they needed, but also I just don't see it happening. But go M's. Sell. The final boss, Jose Marrero, says Shohei Otani will have a 50-50 season. Yeah, that's an insane sentence that you're saying about a guy who also pitches. Granted, hasn't pitched this year, we know that, but he just is not from this planet. Shohei Otani just locked in 40-40 a few nights ago. In case you guys don't know what I mean, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and yes, you heard that correctly. Shohei Otani, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. He needs, I think, 9 more home runs to get to 50. He needs 10 more stolen bases to get to 50. He could have a big month of September. The Dodgers are still very much in it, and I do think this helps for the 50-50 goal for Shohei Otani because they're fighting with the Padres and the Diamondbacks right now to keep that National League West crown. You don't want to be in the wild card. You want that bye. So they're going to be in big games. Otani's going to have to make big plays like he has all year long. They need him to be at the top of his game, and I think when he is playing like this, he is at the top of his game. That's a bad take. I mean, of course he is. That's stupid. So I'm going to buy this. I do think Otani has the first ever 50-50 season, which is just insane because this guy also can pitch next year if he's healthy. Like, what? We're genuinely having one of the craziest statistical seasons we've ever seen. Aaron Judge, Shohei Otani, Ellie De La Cruz, the list goes on and on. Zach at Clips Ring Season says Jackson Merrill wins Rookie of the Year, Mike Shildt wins National League Manager of the Year, and Padres win the 2024 World Series. So I'm just going to kind of break these down a little bit. Jackson Merrill is the odds-on favorite to win the Rookie of the Year right now. What he has done for this Padres team, he's put them on their back. He's been great all year long. He's been really good. A fantastic rookie season. But what he's been able to do over this last month and a half is crazy. The big hits, the big home runs, the great defense out in center field. He's a phenomenal player. He's a top 50 player in the league as a rookie. He's so incredibly good. So yes, he's winning Rookie of the Year. Buy. Mike Shildt wins National League Manager of the Year. Sell. That's going to Pat Murphy of the Milwaukee Brewers. I think just the fact that he's able to get as much as he is out of that roster, you have to give it to Pat Murphy. And I think even if you don't, it's still Mike Torey Lovello because that team was kind of down in the dumps for a little bit. Another good season from them. I still lean Pat Murphy though for the Brewers in the National League. I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. And then in terms of the World Series, I don't want to run into the Padres. You don't want to face them in the playoffs. This team is dangerous. They have the best bullpen in baseball. That is lights out from the 6th inning on. Jeremiah Estrada, you have Brian Hoeing, you have Jason Adams, you have Tanner Scott, you have Robert Suarez. I just named 5 lights out relievers. Lights out. And they have more. Their bullpen's disgusting, and they're starting pitching when healthy, when clicking. Dylan Cease, Joe Musgrove, Matt Waldron's even a good guy that you can throw into the bullpen in a postseason. Martin Perez as well. Yu Darvish is going to come back from injury. Tatis hasn't even been playing. Machado hasn't even really been that good. Like, this team is so scary. You don't want to match up with them in the postseason. So I could buy that they win the World Series for sure, but I don't think Mike Shilt's going to win Manager of the Year. Nor do I really think he should. The Padres have a good team. This is a team that I at least thought was going to make the playoffs coming into the season despite getting rid of Juan Soto. Sean Duffy says Francisco Lindor is better than Bobby Witt Jr. And listen, I like to drink the Mets copium as much as anybody else. We know I'm a huge homer. I mean, look at the video. There's literally a giant Mets fathead in the childhood basement that I grew up in my parents' house. If it wasn't obvious then, it's obvious now. But Francisco Lindor is not better than Bobby Witt Jr. We're selling this. Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the 3, maybe 4, at worst 5 best players in all of Major League Baseball. The season he's having this year, if it wasn't for Aaron Judge, he is the clear and obvious MVP. Like, it wouldn't even be close. It would be unanimous, but Aaron Judge decided, I'm going to be the best player on the planet, maybe one of the best seasons we've ever seen. Lindor is having an MVP caliber season because of the value that he has. But at the plate, he's not as good of a hitter as Bobby Witt Jr. There's no way around it. I love Francisco Lindor. I'm taking Bobby Witt Jr.'s bat every single day. And defensively, I think I'll at least say they're even because I think Bobby Witt Jr. is phenomenal at shortstop. He's incredible. So is Francisco Lindor. You might take Bobby Witt. You might take Lindor. I think you can just give that a wash. Bobby Witt is way better at the plate. Bobby Witt Jr. is the better player. This is a sell. I can't even be a homer about this one. But I do love Francisco. National League MVP. Probably not. But also maybe. Maybe. He does have the most F4 in the NL. Owen says the Braves win 3 of 4 in Philly this weekend, which helps them win the division. Their bats also come back on their road to being 2024 champions. Here's what scares me about the Braves right now. They're doing that voodoo magic again. They've got Whit Merrifield, Ramon Laureano. Who the f else is on this team? I mean, like, this team has injuries and just like the guys that are making impacts right now. Giovanni Urshela is playing well. Jorge Soler is back because why not? Run it back again. Adam Duvall, because why not run it back? He's not playing well, but like, they're just doing this weird thing where they're going to somehow piece this all together. They're going to make the playoffs. Do I think they overtake the Phillies? I don't. I think the Phillies are clearly better than the Braves, and we've seen that in the postseason the last couple seasons as well when the Phillies knock them out, which is really just like a complete hell series for me always. I don't think they win 3 or 4 this weekend. The Phillies are still really good, and they're just getting better, and I think they're just kind of hitting their lull, which you're allowed to do. I do think the Braves offense does come back at some point. Matt Olson is starting to heat up. Marcell Ozuna is playing out of his mind, and they are going to get some guys back from injury at some point, and Sean Murphy can't be this bad at the plate like he's been. I don't think they're going to be 2024 World Series champions. I pray to God they're not going to be the World Series champions. I don't think they overtake the division either, so I'm going to sell this entire take. But I am scared because they're doing that weird Brave shit again. Like Ramon Laureano was dead. Whit Merrifield was dead. Final one of today's video, Matthew DeSena says, Jazz Chism has a Randy-type playoff series. And I think he just means playoff run. It was an entire playoffs where Randy Arozarena went off. And I gotta tell you, I love the vibes of Jazz. I loved that move when the Yankees traded for him. I think they gave up still absolutely nothing. I know Jared Serna's hitting really well. Don't care. Not that high of a ceiling on him. I think he's gonna be a major league player. I think Jazz Chism has a super high ceiling, a guy who can be an all-star caliber player, if not better. And I think he's gonna love the bright lights. He seems to love the attention. He seems to love the pressure. He's gonna be in a winning environment for, I don't care that they were in the playoffs last year. He's gonna be in a winning environment for the first time in his entire career. The Marlins environment that they had was not a winning environment. Derek Jeter left because of that. Kim Ng left because it was not a winning environment. Like, they're trying to build one. I think Peter Bendix is attempting to do so. But right now, that is not a winning environment, and Jazz Chism being on the Yankees in that roster, kind of one of the, I don't want to say ancillary players, but when you have Judge and Soto, you kind of don't pay as much attention to Jazz Chism. I could see him having a huge postseason run for the Yankees and being vital in their success this year. I totally buy this, Matthew. If I was a guy who was looking to invest in baseball cards like I did with Randy before the postseason run in 2020, Jazz Chism would be atop of my list. I think he has the opportunity to just soar to new heights. And there they are, buy or sell. It's been a minute, but I'm glad to do it again. Appreciate all of you guys responding to my tweet over on Twitter. Make sure you follow me at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. We've been going crazy. The shorts have been popping off. I appreciate all the amazing support you guys have given. That's where I'll wrap up today's video, though. I will be in Arizona, so if any of you have made it this far and are going to see me at the Diamondbacks Mets game, make sure to say what's up, and you know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye!